The Little Prince, Anthony de Saint-Exupéry. Chapter 4. I had first learned a second fact of great importance. This was that the planet the little prince came from was scarcely any larger than a house. But that did not really surprise me much. I knew very well that in addition to the great planets such as the Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, to which we have given names, there are also hundreds of others, some of which are so small that one has a hard time seeing them through the telescope. When an astronomer discovers one of these, he does not give it a name, but only a number. He might call it, for example, asteroid 325. I have serious reason to believe that the planet from which the little prince came is the asteroid known as B612. This asteroid has only once been seen through the telescope. That was by a Turkish astronomer in 1909. In making his discovery, the astronomer had presented it to the International Astronomical Congress in a great demonstration, but he was in Turkish costume, and so nobody would believe what he said. Grown-ups are like that. Fortunately, however, for the reputation of asteroid B612, a Turkish detector made a law that his subjects, under pain of death, should change to a European costume. So in 1920, the astronomer gave his demonstration all over again, dressed with impressive style and elegance. And this time everybody accepted his report. If I have told you these details about the asteroid and made a note of its number for you, it is an account of grown-ups and their ways. When you tell them that you have made a new friend, they never ask you any questions about essential matters. They never say to you, what does his voice sound like? What games does he love best? Does he collect butterflies? Instead, they demand, how old is he? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only from these figures do not they think they have learned anything about him. If you were to say to the grown-ups, I saw a beautiful house made of rosy brick with geraniums in the windows and doves on the roof, they would not be able to get an idea of that house at all. You would have to say to them, I see a house that cost $20,000. Then they would exclaim, oh, what a pretty house that is. Just so you might say to them, the proof that the little prince existed is that he was charming, that he loved it, and that he was looking for a sheep. If anybody wants a sheep, that is a proof that he exists. And what good would it to do to tell them that? They would shrug their shoulders and treat you like a child. But if you said to them, the planet he came from is asteroid B612, then they would be convinced and leave you in peace from their questions. They are like that. One must not hold it against them. Children should always show great forbearance toward grown-up people, but certainty for us who understand life figures are a matter of indifference. I should have liked to begin this story in the fashion of the fairy tales. I should have liked to say, once upon a time there was a little prince who lived on a planet that was scarcely any bigger than himself and had need for a sheep. To those who understand life, that would have given much a greater air of the truth to my story. For I do want anyone to read my book carelessly. I have suffered too much grief in setting down these memories. 6 years have already passed since my friends went away from me with his sheep. If I try to describe him here, it is to make sure that I shall not forget him. To forget a friend is sad. Not everyone has had a friend, and if I forgot him, I may become like a grown-ups who are no longer interested in anything but figures. It is for that purpose, again, that I have bought a box of paints and some pencils. It is hard to take up drawing again at my age, and I have never made any pictures except those of the boa constrictor from the inside I was 6. I shall certainly try to make my portraits as true to life as possible, but I am not at all so sure of success. One drawing goes along and right, and another has no resemblance to its subject. I make some errors too, and the little prince hate. In one place he is too tall, and in another he is too short, and I feel some doubts about the color of his costume. So I fumble along as best I can, now good, now bad, and I hope generally fair to middling. In certain more important details I shall make mistakes also, but that will not be my fault. My friends never explained anything to me. He thought perhaps that I was like himself, but I, alas, do not know, how to see sheep through the walls of boxes. Perhaps I am a little like the grown-ups. I have had to grow old. Chapter 5. As each day passed, I would learn their talk, something about the little prince's planet, his departure from it, his journey. The information would come very slowly as it might chance to fall from my thoughts. It was in this way that I heard, on the third day, about the cap history of the baobabs. This time was more. I had the sheep to thank for it. For the little prince asked me abruptly, as if seized by grave doubt. It is true, isn't it, that sheep ate little bushes? Yes, that is true. Oh, I'm glad. I did not understand why it was so important that sheep should eat little bushes. But the little prince added, Then it follows that they also eat baobabs. I pointed out to the little prince that baobabs were not little bushes, but on the contrary, trees as big as castles. And that even if he took a whole herd of elephants away with him, the herd would not eat up one single baobab. The idea of the herd of elephants made the little prince laugh. We would have to put them one on the top of the other, he said. But he made a wise comment. Before they grew so big, the baobabs start out by being little. That is strictly correct, I said. But why do you want the sheep to eat the little baobabs? He answered me at once. Oh, come. As if you were speaking of something that was self-evident. And I was obliged to make a great mental effort to solve this problem without any assistance. Indeed, as I learned, they were on the planet where the little prince lived. As on all planets, good plants and bad plants. In consequence, there were good seeds from good plants and bad seeds from bad plants. But seeds are invisible. They sleep deep in the heart of the earth's darkness, until someone among them is seized with a desire to awaken. Then this little seed will stretch itself and begin timidly at first to push a charming little sprig inoffensively upward toward the sun. If it is only a sprout of radish or the sprig of a rose bush, one would let it grow wherever it might wish. But when it is a bad plant, one must destroy it as soon as possible, the very first instant that one recognizes it. Now there were some terrible seeds on the planet that was home of the little prince, and these were the seeds of the baobab. The soul of the planet was infested with them. A baobab is something you will never be able to get rid of if you attempt to eat too late. It spreads over the entire plant. It bores clear through it with its roots, and if the plant is too small and the baobabs are too many, they split it in pieces. It is a question of discipline, the little prince said to me later on. When you finish your own toilet in the morning, then it is time to attend to the toilet of your plant. Just so, with the greatest care, you must see to it that you pull up regularly all the baobabs at the very first moment when they can be distinguished from the rose bushes, which they resemble so closely in their earliest youth. It is very tedious work. The little prince added, but very easy. And one day he said to me, You ought to make a beautiful drawing so that the children where you live can see exactly how all this is. That would be very useful to them if they were to travel someday. Sometimes, he added, there is no harm in putting off a piece of work until another day. But when it is a matter of baobabs, that always means the cap is rough. I knew a planet that was inhabited by a lazy man. He neglected 3 little bushes. So, as the little prince described it to me, I have made a drawing of the planet. I do not much like to take a tone of moralist, but the danger of the baobabs is so little understood, and such considerable risks would be run by anyone who might get lost on an asteroid, that for once I am breaking through my reserve. Children, I say plainly, watch out for the baobabs. My friends like myself have been skirting this danger for a long time, without ever knowing it. And so it is for them that I have worked so hard over this drawing. The lesson which I pass on by this means is worth all the trouble it has cost me. Perhaps you will ask me, why are there no other drawing in this book as magnificent and impressive as this drawing of the baobabs? The reply is simple. I have tried, but with the others I have not been successful. When I made the drawing of the baobabs, I was carried beyond myself by the inspiring force of urgent necessity. Chapter 6. Oh, little prince, bit by bit, I came to understand the secrets of your sad little life. For a long time you had found your only entertainment the quiet pleasure of looking at the sunset. I learned the new detail on the morning of the 4th day when you said to me, I am very fond of sunsets. Come, let us go look at a sunset now. But we must wait, I said. Wait for what? For the sunset, we must wait until it is time. At first you seemed to be very much surprised. And then you thought to yourself, you said to me, I'm always thinking that I'm at home. Just so, everybody knows that when it is noon in the United States, the sun is setting over France. If you could fly to France in 1 minute, you could go straight into the sunset right from noon. Unfortunately, France is too far away for that. But on your tiny planet, my little prince, all you need to do is move your chair a few steps. You can see the day end and the twilight falling whenever you like. One day you said to me, I saw the sunset 44 times. And the little prince, you added, you know one loves sunset when one is so sad. Were you so sad then, I asked, on the day of the 44 sunsets? But the little prince made no answer.